They were known as fierce fighters. They were African American men skilled at military combat, stretching back to the Civil War.
They were Buffalo Soldiers. Now, I've got that saddle out in the garage.
You do?
Yeah.
And today, very few are still alive to tell their story.
This is a harness, and you have to have that to wear your saber. There we go. It brings up memories. It gives you a sense of pride and service.
Just putting on his wool uniform can trigger a sacred time past for 88-year-old John Nichols of Chesterfield.
A soldier's a soldier.
He spent a career in the U.S. Army, and he is a living Buffalo Soldier.
I will always find a way to fight. You never give up.
Nichols is now fighting against the same military he once fought for.
This is what I'm looking for.
He's in a battle to restore his rank in the Army.
This is the way I look.
Nichols says he was demoted from an E7 Master Sergeant to an E1 Private just before entering World War II.
I respectfully request that these wrongs be righted and that I be restored to the highest rank held, E7.
The demotion was not for anything that Nichols did. It was instead due to the color of his skin.
White troops were not willing to accept orders from African American men in positions of authority.
VCU history professor Greg Smithers says racial demotions were very much a reality back then. Black soldiers were often trained in remote areas to remain unseen and told to dismount from their horses when in the presence of white citizens.
They were not only fighting for the United States, but they were fighting for their race.
Nichols says he was told that if he wanted to go to war, he'd have to surrender his stripes.
If you had a rank, you couldn't go. You had to give your rank up if you wanted to go fight. I said, is that what I have to do? He said, yeah. I ripped them off. There you go. Send me.
So he was sent and fought among fellow Buffalo soldiers in Italy.
They saw some terrible fighting and they fought bravely and gallantly during that combat.
He's in 10th Cavalry.
Nichols says he often flashes back to the gunfire, the trenches, the bloodshed.
It's not something you want to live with, but it was part of the job.
In 1948, President Harry Truman desegregated the military, dissolving the existence of the African American Coalition of Buffalo Soldiers. Nichols wouldn't leave the military until much later in 1964. By that time, he'd been promoted back up the ranks to an E6, one rank short of where he had been before the demotion.
For many years, I've attempted through many avenues to have my rank rightfully restored.
Nichols has written letters to senators, to the Army, to colonels who served beside him, even the President of the United States, about his rank. Several have taken on his cause, but unfortunately Nichols doesn't have paperwork to prove his case, and neither does the military.
And I said, well, you're not getting away with this. I said, I worked hard for my stripes.
A fire in 1973 in St. Louis destroyed millions of military files. That was cited as a possible explanation for the lack of documentation. But Nichols is convinced he knows the truth, and he'll find a way to prove it. He says it's not about money or prestige. It's about honor.
I'm right, and I'm going to, right should prevail. And I'm going to, as long as I'm alive, I'll be fighting this fight until I win it.